If you ever feel out of control around food, you're not alone, and you're in the right place to learn practical, no-nonsense information about why you binge and how to stop. Binge eating does not mean that something is wrong with you. It's a natural but primitive brain response that you can correct. If you're ready for change, sign up for the Brain Over Binge self-paced online course for less than $20 per month. And if you feel you need personalized support, we also offer one-on-one coaching and group coaching. To learn more, go to brainoverbinge.com/subscribe. And I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Brain Over Binge podcast, where you learn a simple, brain-based approach to ending binge eating. I'm so happy you joined me today. I'm Kathryn Hansen, and I'm here to help you stop binge eating and move on with your life. I want you to know that it is absolutely possible. You can completely put this harmful habit behind you and develop a normal relationship with food. In the previous episode, I announced that I have a new free resource that I created to help keep you motivated. And I want to make sure that you know about that and how to get it. The resource is the Brain Over Binge Inspiration Booklet, and it contains 31 days of messages that will keep you focused on recovery, remind you of the Brain Over Binge concepts, and provide encouragement when you need it. You can download this free booklet by going to the show description, or you can find it at brainoverbinge.com right on the homepage. Today's show will address something that often gets in the way of recovery, and that's body and weight concerns. Coach Julie will join me today to talk about how you can learn to make peace with your body as you're ending binge eating and throughout your life as well. Welcome back, Julie.
Hi, Kathryn. So good to be here.
Yeah, I always love having you on the show. We always get into such great conversations. And today we have another great topic prepared for you. We're going to talk about making peace with your body. And we'll talk about it as it relates to recovery from binge eating and even beyond recovery, because this is something that really never goes away. So yeah, Julie, let's just get started.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about this topic because I think that when we're in recovery, a lot of times we enter into recovery at a time when there can be a lot of negative feelings towards our bodies. This notion of like, my body is not responding, my body is not doing what I want it to do, or I've been binging and now my body is in a state that I don't like. It's not okay. I don't want this. There's a lot of resistance. And when that happens, it can get in the way of recovery, because recovery is about eating adequately and dismissing or expecting and allowing urges. But you can't do that when you're in this fight, flight, freeze mode, because you're so uncomfortable in your own skin the whole time and you're wishing so hard that things weren't the way that they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the eating adequately piece is the part that gets the most affected when you are not at peace with your body, or at least accepting of it, or at least not being at war with it. Because if you're so unhappy with your body and you want so badly for it to change, the temptation is, okay, I'll diet. I won't eat enough. I'll restrict my food, and that's going to change it. Right. And then that leads to more urges to binge, more binging, more weight gain in the long run. So it really just interferes with everything you're trying to do in recovery. And this is something like I always talk about on this show, like you don't have to solve all your problems in order to be binge free. But I think the body image piece is something that can actually be an exception to that sometimes, because if you are so unhappy and dissatisfied with your body, it's going to be so hard to eat adequately, which interferes with recovery. So yeah, it's not that you have to learn to love your body before you can recover. It's that there has to be some level of understanding or acceptance so that you can eat enough food.
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. And it's actually, very aligns with my own experience, right? I remember that when I was not coaching, pre-coaching, right? When I was still in my own journey, it got in my way every single time. I'll just diet my way into recovery, and then I might eat adequately. But until then, I'll restrict and get my body in shape, get my body the way that it's supposed to be. And then I'll love my body, and then I'll be able to get on with my life. And the thing is that it doesn't work that way. And it truly wasn't until I said, you know what, this is my body. This is how my body is today. And even if my body never changes, I never want to binge again, because binging is killing me. And so I'm going to have to make peace with where my body is. I may not love the way my body looks. I may hope that my body is going to eventually change, but this is my body right now. And so how can I make peace with it as it is so that I can get to the business of recovery? And I'll say also, because it can be very distracting if you're so consumed with, I don't like how I look. This isn't okay. I don't fit into my clothes. All of that noise can take you away from the two main recovery goals, right? Of eating adequately and expecting and allowing urges. Because if you're caught in that loop of body hatred, which can be very strong and is very real, it gets in the way.
Yeah, I really appreciate you sharing your personal story. I think it's so powerful to hear, about your journey with that. And you're definitely not alone. We've worked with so many people who have this same struggle of, okay, I will start eating adequately when my body is such and such a weight, but it's just a losing battle. And I know it can be hard to see that when you're in it, but just ask yourself, like, how has this been going for you? How has this been working? Is dieting and restricting, is that leading you to be the weight you want to be? And my guess is if you're listening to a binge eating podcast, the answer is no. It's making you binge. It's causing you to overeat. Right. It's causing you to have all these health issues. So letting go of it and letting go of that struggle and allowing your body to be what it is such a powerful step. And like you said, it doesn't mean that you can't hope that it changes. If you're well over your natural weight from binging, it's okay to hope that that weight releases. And as we know, it does as you learn to eat in a way that, you're not filling your body with loads and loads and loads of extra calories from the binging. So everyone has a different journey with weight there, but it is about, just this is where I am right now. And the weight is not my focus right now.
Yeah. And so I'm guessing that most people listening are saying, okay, how do I do that? Right. And so I think it would be good if I talk a little bit about different strategies, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to say, first and foremost, I think the biggest game changer is do a clothing edit, full stop. This is the body that you are in today. And when you stop binging, slowly, gradually, over time, if you have weight to release, it will come off. But you need to clothe the body that you're in and treat it with care. And so if the only thing in your closet are clothes that fit you when you were in a different size and you're trying to squeeze into those clothes, it will be very distracting and it will be very triggering and it will bring up all that noise that I was talking about before, which will not enable you to eat adequately and expect and allow urges. So first and foremost, you get clothing that fits and feels good now. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it needs to fit you and feel good now. Not when, not wishfully, but right now. That's very, very important.
Yeah, I really love that suggestion. I think it's very practical. Yeah, because if you try on clothing and it's too tight, the temptation is, oh, I'm not going to eat lunch today. I need to restrict my calories so that way I fit into these clothes, when the solution is to just wear different clothing. And, obviously we understand there's economical concerns there, but there are different ways that you can do this.
Yeah. Inexpensive clothing, secondhand stores, online vintage shops. There are plenty of ways to get things for not too much money. So that is a huge game changer. It also is a signal to your body that you're respecting it, that you're saying, this is how you are, and I respect you. Yeah. We have children and we wouldn't make our children wear clothing for a child who was 3 years younger. We just wouldn't do that. Oh, you're not fitting in those twos anymore. You're 7 years old. You should really still be wearing those twos. And, when my daughter would outgrow her clothing, I'd say, there's something wrong with the clothes. We need to get new clothes.
Yeah.
It's not a body problem. It's a clothing problem. So that's the first thing. That's one, like, biggie. And then another thing is to think about the kind of self-talk you have towards your body, right? And we already said, it's not about saying, I love my body, right? You don't need to go there. I mean, it'd be great if we all did, but instead of being, I hate my body, this isn't right, I can't stand this, right? Coming up with some more neutral or acceptable ways of speaking to your body. This is my body today. This is my stomach. These are my legs. This is my face. This is my body today. I have a body, keeping it very neutral. Other people have bodies like mine. All bodies come in different sizes, really neutral thoughts that are believable to you that kind of take away some of the sting.
Yeah, I love that. It's not about flipping into, oh my gosh, my body's amazing, right? It's about, here I am. This is how I'm showing up today. And like, yes, your body may be showing up in a certain way because of the binging, but that's not your fault. You got into it because of this survival mechanism of not eating enough or because of the habit formation. Like, this is not something you planned on. This is not your fault. So please just, have some self-compassion there
Yeah.
and realize that your body will regulate over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we talk a lot about gratitude, and I know you've spoken about this in other podcasts, but it's also really important to have so much gratitude for what your body can do, right? Sometimes we're so fixated on what our body looks like, or even if we're struggling with some kind of pain or some kind of medical condition, which I know you and I both are going through right now, it can be very much, you can really go into that. I don't like this. I don't want it to be that way versus, I'm so grateful that I have a body. My body is resilient. Look what my body can do. Because for many of us, it's been years and years of abuse, of beating it up, of saying that we don't like the way that it is, of trying to manipulate it into other things. And so coming into this relationship of gratitude for our bodies and for the things that it can do, I think is a very powerful action.
And I think avoiding the comparison of, let's say, what other people's bodies can do or what they can look like. And that might bring us down the path of talking about maybe social media and things maybe you could eliminate from your life in order to develop more peace with your own body.
Yes, thank you. You read my mind. That's another big thing, is to clear your social media feed, right? And really look and curate a social media feed that's full of things that you want to be looking at, right? So not diet, Fitspo, nutrition sites where you might be comparing and despairing, but instead either things that have nothing to do with food and body. There's infinite possibilities out there: music, the arts, travel, pets, hiking, mountain climbing, whatever, things that you're interested in, or bodies in all shapes and sizes, or, like those kinds of things will really, like what you look at and absorb really makes an impact.
Yeah, there's so many kind of even fake accounts, filtered things. These images we're looking at, maybe not even real. They're not even real bodies, and we can compare ourselves to that. But with social media, there's also another side of it. There is some of that body positivity accounts. There is, like you said, so many other topics to explore. So instead of focusing on the things that make you feel bad, focus on the things that build you up and that light you up inside and make you feel good.
Yeah. And I think also I say, like, do it in ways and in doses that feel safe, because sometimes there's a lot of trauma around the body. And so connecting with our bodies can feel unsafe. I mean, I was thinking of a former guest on your podcast. And so it's really about being careful with that, and notice, like, if you're feeling super activated, that's probably not the time to be like, I'm so appreciative of my body.
Yeah.
That might be a time to shake out your hands, jump up and down, do something to release any of that anxiety. But in times when you are feeling calm, when you are noticing something beautiful in your environment, or you're having a moment of enjoyment, realize, oh, I'm in this body now and I'm still enjoying life. I'm in this body now and I'm still okay. The earth is still spinning. I'm breathing. People I love are still around, right? Like, it's really good to recognize that even in this body, life is still available to us to enjoy.
That's so powerful. And I think that works for every age and stage of life. And I think it might become more and more important as, the body ages, and you literally can't do the things that you used to be able to do. And it just becomes much more about seeing that there are still so many things you can do. And it's more of connecting, not necessarily even connecting with your body all the time, but connecting with your mind and your thoughts and your feelings and what you're seeing out in the world. And I don't know, even maybe transcending the body a little bit and realizing that it's just a vehicle.
Yes, exactly. We are so much more than a body. And then there are other practices, right? Like, for people who are really interested in going deeper with this stuff, it's very helpful to, if you like to journal, to write a letter from you to your body, thanking it for all it's done, maybe even apologizing for some of the ways that you've treated it over the years, talking about the new kind of relationship you want to have with it. And then in turn, having your body write a letter back to you. Right. And it sounds kind of hokey. What do you mean my body can't write a letter? But it can, obviously, and just imagine what it might say. And, every time I've done that exercise, I'm amazed at the wisdom that I receive. And our bodies are always speaking to us. That's the thing about recovery, is that you start to learn to listen to the wisdom of your body.
Yeah, and when we're not distracted by all of that body noise and worrying about how we look, it opens us up to more of life as well. You can explore
Yeah.
your other interests. You can, be there more present in your relationships. You can just, I guess, live life more fully when you're not so closed down and only thinking about the way you look. And I know it's not just about the way you look, it's the way you want to feel. But I think that opens up another conversation, is like the way you feel doesn't come from the way you look. The way you feel comes from how you're thinking about it. It comes from your thoughts, and that's always available for us to change and to shift and to
Exactly.
find new ways to think about things.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Which gets back to that whole notion of you may not be leaping into, oh, I just love my body right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. But there are thoughts that you can start adopting. I can feel how I want to feel now.
Mhm.
Right. Or I can feel any way I want to feel now. You can, right? It's a choice. And sometimes, things like this is my one body and I'm determined to feel good in it. Right. I choose to feel good in my body no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think stopping the harmful behaviors with food takes you a long way toward that goal, even if your body doesn't change at all. This is something I
That's
said
right.
in my books. I've probably said on the
Right.
podcast before, but binging did bring me well over my natural weight. And when I stopped binging, it took a while for that weight to start to gravitate back down to what's normal for me. But even before it started gravitating down, I felt so much better. I wasn't
A
binging. I
million
didn't have
percent.
the shame. I didn't have just those bloated feelings of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that again. So like everything shifted before my weight ever shifted.
I love that. So true. I had the same experience
Mhm.
because once I know I'm in my integrity with food, then the rest of it is just up to the wisdom of my body, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that's a really powerful thing to remind everybody about. Just the act of being binge free can help you develop that more peaceful relationship. And again, that comes from making sure you're eating adequately and expecting and allowing urges, which then comes from saying, this is my body and I'm not going to try to manipulate it to rush it into change.
Yeah, it kind of takes us back to the beginning where people say, okay, I'll lose the weight and then I'll eat adequately and stop binging. And that's going to make me feel better. When really eating adequately and stopping binging is going to make you feel better no matter if your weight changes or not. And when you do those two things, it gives your body the chance to heal. It gives you a chance to settle at a weight that's right for you. Having this battle with it, restricting and binging your whole life, it's never going to give your body that chance to just be peaceful.
That's right. And, one thing that I always encourage clients to do is to keep track of all of the non-weight benefits. Because I didn't binge today, I get these non-weight benefits immediately and really start to notice them every single day and savor them. Oh, I was really present with my children at dinner, or I had so much creativity at work today, or I was so much more productive, or I had all the energy and stamina because I slept so well last night. Really notice those things and savor them, because as you really connect with those things, that's what you start to crave way more than anything that's going on with your body. And the other thing about that is those benefits, you have them now, you have them immediately, right? One day binge free, you can have those things. You have them all the way during recovery, and you have them even long beyond. Those things are consistent all the time. The weight, that's a very fickle, goes up, goes down, can change in the decades, just not the same.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to recognize that mythical dream body, a lot of times it's just a cultural construct, right? Is it really something you truly want, or is this something you've been conditioned to believe that you need because of the media and because of all these cultural messages? I think just really stepping back and asking yourself what you really want for your life, it can help you sort of release that fantasy of having a certain look.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And then, another thing that I always encourage people to do is a body scan, at the end of the day with appreciation for all the different parts of your body. And if you're in Kathryn's great audio course subscription or you're in the group, you always have access to mine. But that's something that I really encourage because, body scans are great, relaxing all the different parts of your body. But when you go part by part and you think about your eyes and what they do for you, that you can see all the people you love, or you think about your nose that enables you to smell, and you think about your lips that it gives you the ability to smile and talk and taste. And, it's just looking at each body part for what it does for you.
Yeah.
It's pretty wonderful. It's something to really connect with. And I think we blow past that pretty much all the time.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, the body scan is great. For those of you in the course or the group, definitely check that out. One final thing I'll say, and then, I'll give you closing thoughts as well, is that just know also that you can have negative body thoughts and still eat adequately and still not binge. Like you can completely fail at your body scan and there's no failing here, but you can have all these negative thoughts and you still eat your meals and you still dismiss the urges. So that's really, really important to remember as well.
I love it. Yes, 1,000,000%. All you need to do is eat adequately and expect and allow urges, and you will still recover. However, it will be a lot more pleasant for you if you're doing it in a relatively, let's say, neutral place with your body, kind of trusting like, this is the way my body is today. This is where I am right now. And just having some acceptance around that and doing things to support yourself through this period where you might be uncomfortable in your body, and that's okay, but you can do it in a more peaceful way instead of fighting.
Yeah, I love that. Just coming to a neutral place brings me back a little to our Taking in the Good podcast. Take in the good about your body. Take in the good about what it does for you. You don't have to try to convince yourself of it being perfect or anything, but when you notice good things, savor them.
That's right. I love it.
Yeah, Julie, this has been a great conversation. To close out this today, can you talk about how you help people with this in the group and one-on-one clients?
Yeah, I mean, it comes up all the time. Almost every day, right? And so it's just about pointing and redirecting because it's not a one and done thing, right? It's not like, oh, I've decided to recover, and so now I'm just going to be at peace with my body. I think it's a lifelong process. I think that it evolves over time. I've seen that people can be in the group and feeling really peaceful with their body, and then something will happen or an event will occur, and then all of a sudden there's some tension around their bodies. And so it's a forgetting and remembering and forgetting and remembering. And so same to everybody out here listening. It's okay if you think you're listening to this and everything resonates, and then 5 minutes later, you're beating yourself up about your body. Totally normal. We live in a culture that has taught us to do that all the time. It's around us on every billboard. It's in the air we breathe. So I think the biggest piece is to remember that probably every day you're going to wake up feeling frustrated with your body, and that's okay for one reason. Maybe you won't, but if you do, it's okay. Just add an and. And I'm so grateful for all it can do for me. And I'm alive. And I am in recovery. I am healing. Right? So just redirecting back to that all the time.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I love this conversation.
Thanks, Kathryn. So good to be here.
If you're interested in learning more about the Brain Over Binge group and you're listening around the time this episode is released, you can join Coach Julie on a free call this Saturday, April 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will be a half-hour call, and during this time, Coach Julie will answer your questions and help you determine your next steps in recovery. The Zoom link to join the free call this Saturday is in the show description. I also want to let you know that if you feel you need a highly targeted one-on-one coaching session with either me or Coach Julie, we've opened up some additional spots this month. And you can book one of those at brainoverbinge.com/1-on-1-coaching. And that link is also in the show description. We look forward to working with you to help you create a personalized plan to stop binge eating for good. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you got a lot out of this topic and that you'll work toward having a more peaceful relationship with your body and with food. Wherever you are right now on your journey, I want to encourage you and remind you that you have the power to change your brain and live a binge-free life. The Brain Over Binge podcast is produced and recorded by Brain Over Binge Recovery Coaching, LLC. All work is copyrighted by Brain Over Binge Recovery Coaching, LLC, and all rights are reserved. As a disclaimer, the hosts of the Brain Over Binge podcast are not professional counselors or licensed healthcare providers, and this podcast is not a substitute for medical advice or any form of professional therapy. Eating disorders can have serious health consequences, and you are strongly advised to seek medical attention for matters relating to your health. Please get help when you need it, and good luck on your journey. Need more help? You can find all of our current and upcoming options for support at brainoverbinge.com.